Hey there! Did you know that rolling crates are cool? If you lift one under a buried opponent, you can carry them around. Everyone gets a cargo throw. If you pocket the crate or break it, the opponent will just be released. You can put more stuff on the crates, like Pokemon like Spoopa, Electrode, Pyukumuku, Executor. Just make sure you only throw the Pokeball downwards when you're standing on it, since just throwing it downwards in the air will launch the crate. You can also put on Mother Brain, or even Chain Chomp. And of course, normal items work, like the Pitfall, which will just send them right through the crate. The Motion Sensor Bomb also stays on, which is probably one of the coolest uses. And my personal favorite use is the Bumper. You gotta time it right though, since once the bumper's on, it's off. Also, watch what happens when you stand on a rolling crate when you have a bunch of item gravitational spirits. If you go to the edge of the crate, it drives itself. Very fascinating. Also, did you know that the Home Run Bat activates quicker when introduced to a projectile? Here's what I mean. See, normally, as you all know, the Home Run Bat takes a set amount of time to swing. And it's a pretty long time. So I've seen folk that think you can't reflect projectiles until that swing naturally happens, as I'm pretty sure it was in the past games. However, in Smash Ultimate, it doesn't matter when you time it. The swing can happen almost immediately, which is honestly pretty scary because outside of it being a strong reflector, the bat swing will still have a hit in this form. So if someone is spamming projectiles nearby, get yourself a bat and surprise them. Just remember that you need some distance between yourself and the origin of the projectile, since the reflector won't activate if you're too close. And for my last personal fact, did you know that in training mode, for some stages, the specific event that happens will be the same even after resetting? Things that are usually RNG, like 5 volts phases, or the lava rising in Norfair, or which legendary you see on Spear Pillar and which move that they use first. This will all be consistent every time you reset training mode, which wasn't the case in the past. When I did item combos, this was a godsend, and it makes labbing in general very convenient. Since once you get the certain phase or whatever that you want, so long as you don't leave training mode, you always get that phase. Now I wanted to start with these personal facts for one big reason. I get comments very often saying, but hey, none of this is useless, or something along that vein. Allow me to point you toward the title of the video. Notice that they all say, pointless Smash Facts. Not useless Smash Facts. Now you see P-Jiggles does useless Smash Facts. I do pointless ones. What's the difference, you may ask? Well, certainly most of these facts could very well be useful in a certain environment, especially casual environments. But do these facts have a point? Is there a point to learning intricate facts about the casual aspect of Smash? Better yet, is there a point to learning anything about Smash that won't help you win tournaments and make that sweet pizza dough? Even further, is there a point to anything regarding gaming at all, or anything at all? Yes and no. Maybe, now on with the facts. In my last video, I mentioned how, in order to kill a Metroid, you had to freeze it first. It's been brought to my attention by the US population that this fact was actually shown in Samus's mini trailer thing, albeit briefly. But many people didn't know it anyways, so hey, I'm fine with it. But what's really interesting, as they pointed out, was that in the trailer, the animation for the frozen Metroid was different. In there, it seemed that the Metroid was just somewhat encased in the same kind of ice that normal characters are. However, now the Metroid gets turned blue, very much akin to the Metroid games. I'm not entirely sure when this change was made, since I didn't really pay attention to the fact until, I don't know, a few weeks ago, but yeah. Hey, Banjo and Terry, not Hero. Yeah, let's do facts about these two. First up, RJ_Smash1738 has informed me of a very neat fact regarding Banjo's victory screen. There's normal victory music that accompanies it, as is the case for every character, but for the victory screen where they play their instruments, they're actually playing their instruments. Listen to what the victory screen sounds like with and without music.
Banjo and Terry win! Banjo and Terry win!
It's a bit difficult to hear with the announcer speaking over it, but you can probably make it out if you listen closely enough. The banjo certainly is making sounds. Next up isn't directly a banjo fact, but one about his stage. Just a Printy Dude states that using Inkling's roller on Spiral Mountain as it spins will do something I'm genuinely surprised about. When you use it, the paint visuals will stick to the mountain in that exact part, rotating in 3D instead of just staying there into 2D. It seems the effect of the roller paint stays on that same spot though, but I honestly wasn't expecting the visual aspect to be consistent at all. Back to Banjo, Jacob Franz asks what Ditto's Wonder Wing count is. And testing this is super simple. Once Banjo spawns Ditto, you'll have the same 5 feathers above his head. So yeah, he'll have 5 Wonder Wing uses. In my testing, he didn't seem very fond of actually using Wonder Wing, but the option is still there. And speaking of Ditto, Smash Mario Pro 2000 here is asking 2 questions. The first one I'll go over is whether or not Ditto can obtain the Go meter with Terry. So, to test it, I gave Ganondorf some spirits to make racking on damage easier, and I just tested out a set of moves that would bring Ditto over 100%. Just a couple down airs and 1 or 2 flame chokes seemed to work. It did take a bit of grinding, but it does seem that Ditto is not only able to get the Go meter, but is able to perform the special inputs. And considering how stupid Ditto usually is, if even he is able to perform these special inputs, then I guess I have no excuse. For Smash Mario Pro's other question, he's asking if any of the spirits that power up special moves affect his special inputs. Since they're not traditional special moves, I felt this was an interesting thought. I used the Shine Sprite secondary spirit, which boosts all special moves. Of course, I tested this with the same set, just one with and without the spirit. Now, in the past, I've gotten comments telling me that the addition of a secondary spirit increases the power slightly, so I was going to make an even more precise comparison. Specifically, I was going to also test his fully charged forward smash and a full hop back air, which do 79.6% and 47.4% respectively in the spirit set without the Shine Sprite. However, when I tested it with the Shine Sprite, the damage of both the forward smash and the back air was identical. So I don't know, I guess if there's any increase to the base damage due to these secondaries, it's so small that it's inconsequential. It didn't even affect the defense, since Mario's up smash did the same damage in both sets. Which means we can solely compare the special inputs. I also decided to include his back special since that's kind of a unique case. Without the Shine Sprite, his normal back special does 28.4%, his Power Geyser does 82.1%, and his Buster Wolf does 79%. And just for the hell of it, his Final Smash does 87.8%. Now, with the Shine Sprite secondary, his back special does 29.8%, his Power Geyser does 86.2%, and Buster Wolf does 82.9%. So his special moves did get stronger, albeit only by a few percent. However, his Final Smash still did 87.8%, so I guess that isn't considered a special move. Speaking of Terry's Final Smash though, LEGO CW has told me that Mr. Game & Watch reversed to his 3D model in Terry's Final Smash. At first, I was kind of weirded out by the implications. I wasn't really sure what they meant by it. But yeah, during Terry's Final Smash, Mr. Game & Watch is in full 3D, which really does not suit him. I got curious to see how this worked with, say, Duck Hunt's Final Smash, and how the opponent usually has their body all twisted and spinning and whatnot. But for some reason, in this Final Smash, Mr. Game & Watch's body remained in 2D. See, now this is how it should look. For the last Terry fact, Dark Redoom talks about the mechanics of pocketing Power Wave. See, it doesn't matter which variant of Power Wave you pocket, be it the aerial version or the grounded version. No matter what, when the move gets unpocketed, the form it takes will be whatever option is best fitting. If Isabelle pockets a grounded Power Wave and unpockets it in the air, it will be the aerial form. And if she pockets an aerial Power Wave and uses it on the ground, it will be the grounded form. Moving on, let's talk about Snake. The guy tells me how Grey Fox has unique lines when spawned by Snake. Grey Fox has a handful of lines he can normally say, like,
"Make me feel alive again. Hand to hand is the basis of all combat. You can't defeat me with a weapon like that."
However, when he spawned, even when just Snake is in the battle, regardless of whether or not Snake himself spawns it, he will say,
"That's it. I've been waiting for this pain. Like old times, Snake."
Continuing off of Snake, as Udonoki says, did you know that Snake has a unique animation when a grenade goes off? You have to be close to the explosion and be in your idle stance, meaning not in the middle of a move and not inputting anything. He'll take cover after the explosion has sounded off, though this animation can be cancelled at any time, so don't worry about that much. And speaking of Snake's animations, Nicholas Jordan says that if a grenade goes off in Snake's hands while he's invincible, he'll stay in that awkward grenade holding pose despite having nothing in his hands. You can't turn around like this, and your mobility is severely limited. Letting go of the special button will just play the grenade tossing animation, though he doesn't throw anything. And this does apparently work for Kirby as well. Just thought I'd throw that in. Finally, for Snake, Plumber Inhaler states that Bayonetta's Witch Time essentially acts as a reflector. However, with Snake's Nikita, despite the missile being technically reflected after Witch Time, Snake is still fully able to control it. And if he maneuvers it onto himself, well, he'll just blow up. I tried this with PK Thunder as well, but while Ness can still maneuver the PK Thunder, he can't seem to damage himself with it. It just triggers PK Thunder Tackle. But I did want to make sure this PK Thunder was still reflected, so I tested this out with a second Ness CPU. A quick fact before I continue, but in training mode, when you spawn 2 or more CPUs and take control of any of them, they cannot harm each other. It's like they're seen as a team, and team attack is off, meaning PK Thunder or any move from Ness will not harm the other Ness. So if PK Thunder was actually reflected, Ness would actually be able to hit his fellow CPU with it, since it'll technically be Bayonetta's PK Thunder, and Bayonetta can hit the CPU. And sure enough, the PK Thunder connects with the other Ness just fine. Remember everything I just told you, since we'll be applying it for our next fact. Jevon N states how Link's Final Smash can be countered by Bayonetta. And yeah, this is true. Actually, I'm pretty sure this is true for most, if not all, Final Smashes, like Lucas's, Ike's, Fox's, or even Incineroar's. But what I'm more interested in is applying the knowledge we gained from the previous fact. Link's Final Smash looks very much like a projectile, wouldn't you say? And Bayonetta can indeed counter it. But does this Final Smash get reflected? So to test this, I just made use of the double CPU method as before. Normally, of course, Link's Final Smash would not affect the other CPU. However, if the Final Smash was actually reflected like Snake's Nikita or Ness's PK Thunder, then it would affect the other Link. However, I spaced it out properly, and despite going through Bayonetta's counter, Link's Final Smash still didn't affect the other Link. So as far as I can tell, this means the move didn't necessarily get reflected. Witch Time is fun and all, but so is Slowdown in general. And Pupper of Green came to me with a certain funny fact regarding a certain type of move in the Slowdown opponent. This works with Mario's Cape, Dr. Mario's Cape, and Mii's Sword Fighter's Down Special, all moves that reverse the opponent. What you'll want to do is get the opponent slowed down, throw them anyway, and as they're being launched, just cape them. They'll be bounced really far away really quickly. It seems really hard to kill with this, oddly enough, but it is possible. And if you get a star KO this way, they'll be way higher up than a normal star KO. Compare here for yourself. For another slowdown fact, Nathan Fu has informed me of how being slowed down affects Luigi's grab. Now this works perfectly fine if you just say slow down Luigi with a timer or whatever, but it also works for when you simply slow down training mode as a whole. And it appears that when slowed down, Luigi's grab doesn't reach as far. This seems to be because the animation of the plunger gets sort of screwed up when he's slow. The grab distance is normal when you go through it frame by frame, and we'll see here that throughout the duration of the grab normally, the plunger is very erect the entire time, so it reaches further. However, when we're slow, it seems that the tip of the plunger gets messed up, and the whole thing grows flaccid very quickly. Very unfortunate. Even speeding up training mode makes the distance shorter. Moving on to our final fact, X9X9X9X9 has told me a fact about R.O.B's Gyro that I've been meaning to put in one of these videos for a while now. Essentially, on Tortimer Island, it's possible to have R.O.B lose his Gyro forever. It won't despawn like it normally does, and it doesn't seem like he can feasibly fetch it again. Also, did you know that when R.O.B swims, he rotates his hands like a propeller of a motorboat? Anyways, moving on, it must be noted that the exact layout of Tortimer Island is random. While it doesn't matter exactly what it looks like, you need something similar to what you see on screen now, with a bunch of space between the land and the sea, and no dock on the left side of the stage. What you'd like to do is have R.O.B stand on the left slant like so. It's not actually very precise at all. Then you'll want to use Gyro instantly. And once you've done that, well, there you go. The Gyro is now trapped in a certain part of the stage, and even SDing won't bring it back. You can kind of see it if you go close enough. How visible it is will depend on exactly what angle you were at when initially launching it. I found that when it's even more exposed, it actually is possible to interact with it, but I couldn't find a way to actually pick it up like this, and all that happened when touching it was that it got further out of reach. And yes, it'll stay like this until the end of the match, or just until you reset training mode. Speaking of sticking around though, I am not doing that. I'll be taking time off for Thanksgiving break, and immediately after I'll have a bunch of finals and stuff for college. You know, the usual. I'll try to see if I can get anything uploaded during this time, or even do any streaming, but if not, then you know why. Regardless, hit the subscribe button if you even somewhat like this video, because it is required by law. And if you even didn't like this video, subscribe ironically, because that will be very funny. As always, submit your facts down below if you want to appear in a video with full credit. I still have quite the horde of facts lying around, but hey, I'll get to them eventually. Thanks for watching, stay casual, and I'll see you later.